What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon 466 Cards, and today we're going to talk about Panini's strategy in staggering the release dates of their two Prizm products. So, if you didn't know, Panini released their Prizm Basketball Blasters on January the 17th, 2024. You can see on the screen here. But for their hobby boxes, they plan to schedule to release them a full month later, February 14th, 2024. I'm recording this on February 11th. Whether or not they're actually released on February 14th, I don't know. But nonetheless, they scheduled it to be released a month apart. And I've seen some people wondering, oh, did they screw up by setting them so far apart? Was this on purpose? Was this by accident? Was this something happening in the production facility? Well, I can't explain whether or not it was an accident or not because I don't know. But if it was intentional, it's actually a really brilliant business decision for them. And I'm going to explain why. I think we can all agree that blaster boxes, when compared to hobby boxes, are not as high demand of a product. So if you were to launch them, release them at exactly the same time, they're basically competing against each other, right? But if you stagger them out, then they're not really competing against each other. They're not going to cannibalize their own sales. So what you do is you release the lower quality product first because everybody's just dying to get their hands on any Prizm product for basketball, right? Like, oh, Prizm's here, let me go get a box. Whereas if you release them both at the same time, then some people might move to the hobby boxes and they completely ignore the blasters. But you release just the retail blasters first, people focus on that. A month later, they're like, oh, the hobby boxes are here, and then you get that same rush as you did the first time around with the blasters because now here's like the better product or the nicer product. If you flip it around and release the hobby first and then the blasters, there's no excitement about the blasters being released because the hobby is the better product. But if you do it this way, you build up excitement about just like, oh, Prizm is here. Prizm basketball is here. Doesn't matter that's in a blaster. People are like, oh, but at least Prizm's here. And then once hobby arrives, then you're like, oh, hobby Prizm is here. And the best analogy I can think of for why this is a good idea and why this helps Panini sell more product is the way people react to college cards coming out and then pro cards in their pro uniforms come out. College and university cards, they're hot when they first get released, but by the time the pro stuff comes out, everybody's consumed and only thinking about the pro stuff, and a lot of the excitement and demand for the college stuff goes away. This is basically the exact same thing. People get hyped up about just seeing a Prizm anything, and they'll forget the blasters. Once the hobby stuff shows up, they forget about the blasters, but that does lead to a lot more sales of the blasters. So I think this is actually a really brilliant business decision by Panini to help them get more sales. Is this good for the hobby? I'll leave that for you to decide for yourself. But at least from a business strategy perspective, this is really, really smart. And this is one of the rare times where I'll say that Panini definitely made a good choice for them from a business perspective. Would love to hear your thoughts on this one. It's just a short video today, but with Prizm in theory being released this week, I thought I'd share my comments and thoughts as to why I think they staggered the release dates so much so that it builds up excitement for both blaster and hobby. Would love to, again, hear your comments down below as to whether or not you agree with this idea and the strategy behind what Panini is doing. Thank you as always for listening and watching, and I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.